Rain had been coming down since noon, soft but steady, soaking the cracked pavement and the thin hood of the little girl waiting near the bus stop. She couldn't have been more than 8. Her jeans were ripped at the knees, not in the stylish way, but the kind where threads frayed like wild grass. A duct-taped backpack sagged from one shoulder. She clutched it like it was all she owned. People kept passing, shoulders hunched, phones glowing, umbrellas snapping shut as they rushed inside the glowing cafe across the street. That's when Claire first saw her, the girl staring through the steamed-up cafe window, eyes huge, following every laugh and swirl of whipped cream on mugs she clearly couldn't afford. Claire had just come out of a meeting, black heels clicking, leather trench coat cinched tight over a crimson blouse. A woman who never had to count change. Her driver was waiting with the car door open, but she didn't move. Something about the way the girl pressed her palms together under her chin like a silent prayer froze Claire on the wet sidewalk. The girl's lips trembled before she spoke, voice nearly lost in the hiss of tires through puddles. "Ma'am, I don't have a mama. Can I spend one day with you?" The words hit like a slap. People around them kept walking. No one stopped. Claire blinked, unsure she'd heard right. "What?" she asked, her tone softer than expected. "One day," the girl whispered. Her eyes darted to the cafe behind Claire, then down to the ground. Just one day where somebody cares." Claire felt her throat tighten. This was supposed to be a quick stop for coffee before her evening flight. Not this. She knelt slowly, rain darkening her coat. "Where's your dad, anyone?" The girl shook her head. Her hair was tangled, sticking to her cheeks. Up close, Claire saw the exhaustion in her face, the faint purple under her eyes, the way her shoulders slumped like she carried more than a backpack. A bus rumbled past, sending spray over their shoes. The girl didn't even flinch. Rehook moment. "Look, sweetie, I don't even know your name," Claire said, brushing wet hair from her own cheek, feeling absurdly out of place with her manicured nails and designer scarf. "You can't just ask strangers this. Where do you live?" The girl's eyes flicked toward the far side of the intersection. "Shelter on 9th when they have space. Sometimes they don't." Her voice was too calm, like she'd said it before. Claire followed her gaze. She pictured those gray cots she'd seen once in a news clip, the flickering bulbs, the line of people in coats too thin for the season. Her chest squeezed. Inside the cafe, someone laughed loudly. Warm light spilled out each time the door opened. Claire imagined the girl inside, wrapped around a mug of cocoa instead of shivering here with shoes scuffed nearly through at the toes. "What's your name?" Claire asked. "Lila." "How old are you, Lila?" 8, 9 in March. Claire exhaled, standing again. She should call social services. That was the sensible thing. But Lila's tiny hand clutched her sleeve then, stopping her. "Please, just for one day. I won't ask again." Claire looked down at that hand, small, cold, gripping tight, like she was the last branch in a flood. She glanced at her car, at her watch, at the glowing cafe. Something inside her shifted. "Okay," she heard herself say. "1 cup of cocoa, that's all." "Come on." Lila's eyes widened like she'd been handed the world. Inside, warmth wrapped around them instantly. Claire ordered cocoa and a sandwich, sliding her card without looking at the price. Lila sat stiffly at the corner table, watching the foam rise in the cup like it might vanish if she blinked. She ate slowly, like someone who didn't want to finish too fast. Claire tried not to stare at the duct-taped backpack leaning against. The chair leg, the fraying straps, the bus transfer ticket sticking out of the side pocket. Halfway through the sandwich, Lila looked up. "You got kids?" "No," Claire said. "Husband?" Claire hesitated. "Had one. Long time ago." Lila nodded like she understood too much for 8. Outside, the rain kept falling. Claire's phone buzzed with work emails. Her driver waited. Her life waited. But across the table, this little girl was finishing the last bite of bread like it was Christmas dinner. Then Lila whispered, almost to herself. I wish this was home. Claire felt that one deep doubt. The night outside grew darker, buses hissing past. Something told Claire this wasn't over. Not tonight. Claire drove slowly, wipers beating back the rain. Leela curled in the passenger seat, holding her backpack like it was armor. Claire hadn't meant for the evening to stretch this far, but when the girl stepped out of the cafe into the chill again, shoulders hunching like she expected the world to close in, something in Claire just wouldn't let her walk away. "You sure the shelter's open?" Claire asked, glancing over. "They said maybe tonight," Lila murmured. "If too many people come, they turn some away." She didn't look up, just traced the rim of the cocoa cup lid with her finger. Claire gripped the wheel tighter. Her heated car smelled faintly of leather and expensive perfume, everything polished and warm. The thought of this small child being turned back into the wet night clawed at her. The shelter on Ninth looked worse than Claire imagined. A line already stretched along the cracked sidewalk. People with plastic bags for luggage. A man coughing into his sleeve. A woman rocking the baby wrapped in a thin blanket. The flicker of a neon open sign above the door felt cruel somehow. Lila stared out the window, then quietly said, "We can try. If not, there's a bus stop over there. It's got a roof." The casual way she said it made Claire's throat tighten. Rehook moment. Inside, the shelter worker shook his head. "Full tonight, sorry." Claire turned slowly toward Leela, who just nodded like she'd expected this, eyes steady but too old for her face. That nod wrecked Claire more than tears would have. They walked back to the car in silence. Claire couldn't put her in some bus stop. Not after that sandwich, not after the cocoa. "Okay," Claire said finally, voice low. "One night. At my place. Just until morning, all right? Then we figure things out." Layla looked at her, startled. "You mean it?" "Yes, but just tonight." The girl nodded, hugging her backpack tighter. Claire's apartment sat 20 floors up. Glass walls overlooking the city, everything sleek and sharp and expensive. She hadn't brought anyone here in months, maybe years. Now a girl with duct tape on her backpack and rain in her hair stood in the middle of the white marble kitchen, staring at the glowing fridge like it was a movie prop. Claire set a blanket on the sofa. "Bathroom's over there. Towels in the closet. You hungry still?" Lila nodded faintly, opening the fridge. Claire suddenly saw it through Leela's eyes, rows of untouched groceries, sparkling water bottles, takeout cartons neatly stacked. Claire made pasta, awkward in her own kitchen, while Leela showered when the girl came out, drowning in one of Claire's t-shirts, damp hair sticking to her face. She ate like she hadn't had 2 meals in a row for a long time. Later, as the city lights pulsed outside the tall windows, Lila sat curled under the blanket, finally warm. She glanced at Claire. "Why you live up so high?" "Quieter," Claire said, sipping wine. "You stop hearing the city after a while." Leela shrugged. "I like hearing things. Makes me feel less alone." That landed heavier than expected. As night deepened, Claire learned pieces and fragments. Leela's mom had died last winter, pneumonia, no insurance. No family close by. Foster care came and went. Shelters filled the gaps when they could. Lila carried her mom's photo in the backpack pocket with the broken zipper. Claire listened, watching the girl trace the blanket edge with small fingers. The city hummed below, but here in this glass tower, it was just them. "Tomorrow," Claire said slowly, "I can call someone. A friend runs a program for kids. They find homes. Real ones." Layla looked at her for a long moment. "You think they'd want me?" Claire swallowed hard. "They'd be lucky to have you." Morning brought clear skies, streets washed clean. Claire drove Lila to the program office herself, sitting through paperwork, phone calls, background checks. Her name went down as emergency contact. She wrote her number twice, pressing hard like she could carve safety into the page. When Lila left with the social worker, backpack bouncing, she turned at the door. "Thanks, ma'am." For the day. Claire managed a smile, throat tight. "Anytime, kid." Weeks later, a photo arrived in Claire's mail. Lila grinning in a sunny yard. New sneakers, hair brushed, a foster family smiling behind her. On the back, messy handwriting said, "Got a home now." Real one. "Thank you." Claire kept it on her fridge. One day, she thought, could change everything. And sometimes, that's all it takes.